Hey guys and girls, it's your boy the Mad Chef, and tonight we are talking about lasagna. But this is unlike any lasagna you guys have ever had. This is my untraditional take on an Italian classic. We're going to be making everything from scratch, including the marinara. I'll be using the same marinara that was featured in my pub food video where I made the meatball subs and the chili cheese fries. If you guys haven't checked that video out, I got a card floating right here somewhere and a link in the description. We're going to be using the exact same marinara recipe. So we're going to be cutting that part of the video out, and I'll be seeing you guys again when it's time to prepare the meat. Alright, it's been 30 minutes and our marinara is done, so let's get down to the meat of the matter here. We got 2 1/4 pounds of ground beef, and this time we're going to be adding 1 pound of ground mild sausage. If you prefer sweet or hot sausage, that works fine as well, as long as it's Italian. Alright, so we're going to mix these two together. And since I'm also working with sausage this time, I'm going to be seasoning this protein a little less aggressively. Most times when I make lasagna, it's only ground beef. But this time, and this is my favorite way to make it, it's with the mild Italian. I choose mild Italian also because I do add seasoning to it. And it just kind of creates a little more flavor. Alright. So in this, we have the seasoning for our protein. It is 1 teaspoon kosher salt, 1 teaspoon ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons garlic powder, 1 teaspoon onion powder, half a teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of basil, half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of parsley, and a half a teaspoon of red pepper flake. We're just going to dump that right in. We're just going to get it all mixed up and combined. Alright, now that's done, we're going to take this to the stove. Alright. As you can see, our lovely marinara is resting over there. And like I said in my pub food video with the meatball subs, you don't really want to cook marinara for any longer than 30 minutes, otherwise it's going to be overdone and it's going to lose its flavor. So we're going to go ahead and add our beef and sausage mixture to the pan and let that start to sear off. We also have our lasagna water boiling. So we're going to let this sear for a couple minutes, flip it, sear on the other side, and then we're going to crumble it up and get it ready for the pasta. I would say this meat is about halfway done through its cooking, and our lasagna water is ready for pasta. I don't really go for like the Guinness World Record of pasta layers. We just trying to eat good. So my lasagnas usually take about 6 sheets of pasta. Dump those in. Alright. Our beef and pork mixture is finally done. I've just drained it. I'm just trying to dry it out a little bit, whatever little excess water was left inside the protein. I like to let it evaporate a little bit. And now that that's done, we're going to start ladling in our homemade marinara. First of all, do y'all see how beautiful that is? That's what your homemade marinara should look like. Alright, your meat mixture, your meat sauce now is now officially done. These noodles should be done in about another minute. So only thing left to do here is clean up a little bit, and I'll meet you guys at assembly. So now it's time to put everything together, and I know what you're saying, guys. This looks like your pretty traditional lasagna. It might have a little more meat than what you're used to, but like I said, this is the Rodriguez house, and we eat good over here. So this is where things start to take a little bit of a turn. A delicious turn, mind you. Our noodles are done. So we're going to go ahead and load in 3 strips of pasta. And guys, I just tasted the beef and sausage meat sauce, and it just transports you straight to Italy. It is amazing. Using the pork as a seasoning for the beef, plus adding some extra herbs and flavors from the garlic and the onion is really the best way to go. It's the best way to have lasagna, in my opinion. Also, it helps you cut down on powdered product. Alright, now that you got full coverage like car insurance on the bottom, we're going to start layering in our meat sauce. You don't want to see no noodle at all. If you have gaps, you can always punch down and crush your beef and meat just a little bit smaller to cover area space. But you want there to be no gaps in flavor, just like when we're seasoning stuff. We ain't got time for bald spots. Flavors should be everywhere. Alright, double checking for bald spots. We're good. Now this is where it gets a little different. First, we're going to layer in some Park Skim mozzarella. See, the reason why this is adapted is because my wife does not like ricotta cheese. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I know it's about cardinal sin. Me personally, I love ricotta cheese. But this proves to be delicious and different all at the same time. We're basically going with a 3 cheese mix in this layer. First layer of mozzarella. A light sprinkle. Basically, you're just covering the cracks here with cheddar cheese. You don't want too much because then it's going to alter the flavor. You want just enough to cover. And then there's this. This is white cheddar. And you're just going to top it off with white cheddar. This is actually cheese that I have freshly grated myself. I'm not a big fan of prepackaged grated white cheddar cheese. I used it once and it did not turn out. So guys, if you're going to get white cheddar cheese, the only way to do it is in a small block and you grate it yourself. Now we're going to repeat the process with noodles, meat, and the 3 cheese blend. And then this only applies to the top layer. We're going to grab us some 4C Parmesan cheese. You guys know I'm crazy about this. And the top layer gets coated with a generous layer of Parmesan. You want it to get in between all those nooks and crannies from the 3 cheese blend. Alternatively, you can use a Parmesan Romano blend. I switch it up every now and again. That's great too. We're not done yet. Layers of flavor here. You know we're going to finish this bad boy off with some parsley. A little bit of freshness. A little bit of green to break through some of those heavy flavors. Rich sauce. Boom. That is my untraditional lasagna. This is originally derived from my mother-in-law's recipe where she pretty much just replaced the ricotta with white cheddar. But I decided to adapt this into a more flavorful Mad Chef style, no jarred sauces, handmade seasoning ingredients, and a 3 cheese blend. So now we're going to pop this boy in the oven on 375 for 35 minutes. All right, so we're going to cook it on 375 for 35 minutes. Now you can cook it up to 40 minutes if you want, but around that 38, 40 minute mark, your cheese starts to get a little crunchy and a little charred. Now some people like that, but if the cheese becomes too crisp, I feel like it loses a lot of flavor. And at 35 minutes, it is the epitome of cheesy, stretchy, melty goodness. That Parmesan is broken down is mixing in with those other cheeses, and it creates an elevated cheese pool like you've never seen. So guys, if you like crunchy, crispy, toasty cheese, then you can go for a 40-minute bake. I always stop at 35. So I will see you guys again in 35 minutes. All right, and here is the big reveal. And guys, would you look at that? That's what I'm talking about. Don't get no better than that. All right, so we're going to let this guy sit for about 10, maybe 15 minutes, let it cool off. And if you're anything like me, this is the time where you put your garlic bread in the oven. And this is the part that I like best. This is where you plate it up and try it. So we're just going to cut ourselves some nice sized squares. Lasagna sat for about 8 to 10 minutes, I think. I'm really hungry, so I want to grab me a couple squares. Look at that. Look at that cheese pool. You can't get that with ricotta. You sure ain't getting that out of Stouffer's either. Alright, so you take your lasagna boys right here. Grab you a piece of garlic bread. And time to taste it. But first, get a load of that, would you? And that is banging, y'all. Once you try it this way, I doubt you will ever return to traditional lasagna again. Mild ground Italian sausage, 80-20 ground beef, herbs, seasonings, 3 cheese blend, homemade marinara. Guys, you have got to try it, and I can't stress enough, if you haven't seen my pub food video where I was making meatball subs and chili cheese fries, please check that video out so you can learn how to make this wonderful, flavorful marinara. It beats any jarred sauce on the market. Other than that, guys, this is wonderful. Mad Chef is out. Eat up, y'all.